Welcome to Emotionally Healthy Legacy. My name is Elizabeth, and I am a mom of 3 boys. My goal here is to educate you intentional ways that you can become an emotionally healthy mom, ways that you can break destructive patterns that have been happening for years, and how you can leave an emotionally healthy legacy with your children. Hello, welcome back to Emotionally Healthy Legacy, ladies. In today's episode, we'll be talking about how much effect and power you have as a mom on your children, on your family, and on future generations. And I don't want to talk about it as in like, oh, it's extra stress for me now, overwhelming, but more of like an empowering thing. Like you have so much impact and power on your family and your children, and that is something in your control that you can do. If there's something that you're doing that you don't like and you see that it's not serving your family, it is in your control to change that. If there's something that you see that is affecting your family in a positive way, continue to do that. All right, so we will be talking about specifically emotional wellness, your emotional well-being, and how that affects your children, your family dynamic, everything. Your emotional wellness does not affect just you. It affects the whole family. Like you are leaving a legacy for your family. What you do now has such impact on your children and your relationship with them. Even if you realize it or not, it just does. Your kids actually experience the world through you. And how do you want them to experience the world? Do you want them experiencing the world thinking that their feelings don't matter, their emotions don't matter, I'm expected to be happy all the time, I'm not allowed to have a hard day, or, cry about anything. It's too much for my parents when I am, or for my mom, let's say specifically, when I am crying or disappointed, so I have to pretend that everything is okay and just stuff my feelings down. Like your children see how you deal with your feelings and emotions. They see how you handle them when you're having a hard time, how you communicate that. They experience all that and they will start mimicking that, you want it or not. They will. That's the way it works. I remember listening to Chip Ingram years ago, and I still have that DVD, Effective Parenting in a Defective World. And like one of the things he says in there, your kids will not do what you say. They will do what you do. And as a believer, as a Christian, you want to be able to tell your kids. And then he said that phrase because he was talking about Paul from the Bible and how Paul said to the church, follow Christ the way I follow Christ. And he said, as parents, we need to model for our kids what we want them to do. If they see us doing little white lies here and there, that's what their world is. That's what they see. They will mimic that. So then you can't just expect them not to do that because that's what you're doing and they will see it. So he said, you should be able to tell your kids, deal with anger the way I deal with anger. Deal with frustration and overwhelm the way I deal with frustration. Deal with hard and difficult people the way I deal with hard and difficult people. Read the Bible as much as I read the Bible. Pray as much as I pray. Follow Christ the way I follow Christ. And the ones that he mentioned was like dealing with anger, I think he said with finances and, praying and reading the Bible. But like I added the other ones, like if we want our children to learn to manage their frustration and irritation with their siblings and anger any challenging kind of feeling and emotion, that's what we're focusing here on, emotion, we first need to learn how to do it ourselves. And then we can teach it to our kids, and we need to continue to model it to our kids. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen every time. You'll be able to do it perfectly. No, you're not, because even though I know all this information and I do my best to implement it, I still screw up. I mess up on a regular basis. I still raise my voice. I still get frustrated and overwhelmed and react instead of respond. And then I need to make things right with my kids and apologize. And that's also modeling how I want them to deal with things in life. You as a parent, you will leave a legacy for your children. And usually moms kind of have more impact on the family tone and atmosphere than dads. Of course, dads do too, but somehow most of the time it just happens that we spend more time with our kids than the dads do. And we have more impact on how much we influence our children. So if we want to influence them in a positive way, that's up to us to do that, to implement that. So how are we going to do it? When you think about your mom and you think about your childhood, do you remember your mom in a bad mood when you were a kid? How about when she was overwhelmed or stressed or cranky or yelling? Do you remember how that felt? Your mom had a lot of power of what kind of tone she set in the family. So you have that power too. And I don't want to say it like, oh, this is an extra overwhelming thing for you to deal with now, and this extra burden and stress. I want you to see it as like a freeing thing. Like, I have the power to impact my kids. It's up to me to make some changes. And if you do need to go get some help and you need to go to counseling because you're struggling so much internally, honestly, it's the best thing you can do for yourself to show up for your kids in the best version of yourself. I went to counseling for me, not for my husband or for my children. I went to counseling for me personally. For over a year, I was going regularly to counseling, at some seasons, even twice a week, because I needed that at that time. And I had mentors on top of that. And I had a good support system with family, and I had good friends that were on my side and backing me up. I needed all of that in that season, and I spent thousands of dollars on therapy. And I had a counselor who, she's a believer. It was biblical counseling mixed with psychology. So that's why, for me, I found it super beneficial, because it wasn't just psychology and, how people think and how to process things. It was also Bible-based, and it was mixed with the spiritual aspect of it. And then I had the mentors also for the spiritual aspect. Anyways, I needed that for that season. It was for a season I had to invest financially and with my time to work on myself, to better myself, so then I could become that better mom, that better version of myself that I want to be for my kids, for my husband, for myself. And so then I can show up in that way for my family. And that's where all of this came out of. I don't think I would be here sitting today talking to you into your ear if I did not address all the hard things I was dealing with in that tough season in my life. I needed to do that. I needed to invest in myself financially, which was a lot. emotionally, mentally, with time, spiritually. Like I put a lot of things on hold in that season in my life, and I focused on getting better, like internally. I'm not talking about just external self-care, internal self-care, the mindset shift, the learning how to calm my body down, the mindfulness, the affirmations, like all of this, all of these things that I needed to learn to do, to, how to process feelings and emotions in order to then be able to show up for my family in the best way. And if that is something you need to do because you notice that your life feels so heavy, life feels so overwhelming, there's so much happening, there's so much going on, I don't know where to start, I hear these things, I want to implement them, but it just feels like too much, I would highly encourage you to go see a counselor, someone who will be able to help you through these stages, and they will help you, kind of choose what to focus on in this moment, because there's so much things that we do need to do to become a better version of ourselves if that's the path we are on. But when you are just so stretched thin, you're so overwhelmed, you're running on empty, you do need someone to hold your hand and walk you through it. It is so much helpful, and it's not selfish. It's not a waste of money. I promise you, if you have a good counselor, and if you've seen somebody for a few visits and you just feel like they're not the right fit, look for somebody else. Because when it's the right counselor, you will feel it. You will feel that energy. You will feel that click. You will know and feel that they are helping you, and God is using them to help you in this season. It's not selfish to take care of yourself in that way. It's not. It's the best thing you can do, because then it overflows into your family, into your marriage. It overflows into other relationships, into your health, and all these other areas of your life. If you're a mom that struggles with handling her challenging emotions in a healthy way, listen up. I got a tool for you. If you go in the show notes of this podcast, you will see a link where you can sign up for a 5-day free mini course. And in that mini course, you get to learn actual practical things that you can do in the moment and outside of the moment to be more patient and calm, so you're not as overwhelmed, so you're not as stressed, and actual ways to learn to de-stress yourself and calm your nervous system down. How often do we hear that we shouldn't react, we should respond? And the problem is, well, how? In the moment, I don't know how, because I'm so overwhelmed and so triggered. In this mini course, you get to learn the how. I am so excited that I have these skills that I can share with you. So go in the show notes, click on the link, enter your email, and then you can start the 5-day free mini course. And so taking care of you as a mom is the best thing you can do for your family. Now, when you take care of yourself, you will be able to regulate your emotions better. Because if you remember, when we are stretched thin, when we are overwhelmed, when we are stressed, when everything seems so chaotic, we will find ourselves constantly reacting to life and our children and their emotions instead of responding because we are struggling. You have a choice. You have a choice to make. You can choose to take care of yourself and prioritize yourself so then you can show up for your family in the best way that you can. Or you can stay overwhelmed and stressed. Nothing is going to change if nothing changes. That's one of my favorite quotes. Have things like, you might think, oh, okay, I'll just snap out of this one day. I'll just get out of this stage. It's going to get better. Things will get better. But have they? How long have you been in this season? It might be your marriage that you're struggling in. It might be, parenting that you're struggling in. It might be just life feels heavy and overwhelming. You might be struggling mentally and emotionally with, maybe depression or anxiety. And how long have you tried to wait for it to just go away and fix it on its own, or doing it by yourself? Has it worked? What you've done so far, let's say you're in this season already for a couple years. What you've done thus far, has it helped? Really? Did it get you where you want to be? Or are you still kind of in the same dark hole that you have been? Maybe you take a couple steps forwards and 3 steps back. If you want some changes in your life, if you want positive changes in your life, you have to do something different. People have said, you've heard this definition. It's out there. Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again expecting different results. So if you want different results in your life, you have to do something different. You have to. And it starts with you as a mom, because the way you feel will affect the rest of the family. If you're struggling mentally and your thoughts are negative all the time, you're going to struggle emotionally. You're going to struggle with reacting. It's going to affect your relationship with your kids. So you have to address your thoughts if that's where it's coming from. If it's health problems, you have to address those health problems. It's not selfish for you to go to the doctor. It's not selfish for you to go to a holistic, practitioner or whoever is able to help you address the root issue of whatever you're dealing with. It's not selfish to spend money on that. It's the best thing you can do, because then it trickles down into all these other areas of your family. So you have a choice to make. Are you going to stay stuck where you are right now? Or are you going to do something different? I remember my counselor asked me a really, really hard question. She asked, if nothing changes, are you willing to live like this for the rest of your life? Now remember, nothing's going to change if nothing changes. In order to change things in your life the way they are now, you have to do something different. And so that question, I'm going to repeat it again. If nothing changes in your life, are you willing to live like this for the rest of your life? And I remember sitting there and thinking on that question. And I came up with the answer, and I said, I probably could live like this for the rest of my life, in survival mode, but I know that I don't want to. I don't want to live like this. And then was the next question that she asked me. What are you willing to do about it? So I'm asking you, what are you willing to do about it? Are you willing to put yourself out of the comfort zone? Because in order to grow internally, in order to grow emotionally, in order to grow spiritually, we have to put ourselves out of our comfort zone. That's the way it works. We don't grow when we stay in our comfort zone. We don't. So what kind of mom do you want your kids to remember you as? Do you want your kids to remember you as a mom who's constantly in survival mode, overwhelmed, stressed, snappy, angry? I don't. That's not the mom I want my kids to remember. Do I have days like that? Yes, I do. But that's not who I want to be overall. One of my favorite influencers that I follow, and I've mentioned her here before, and I love her a lot with a lot of things that she taught. I have bought multiple courses from her, and they've been super valuable and helpful. And one of the quotes that she says, and I will repeat it again to you, and I know I've mentioned it here before, your kids deserve a happy, healthy mom that loves her life. If you are a happy, healthy mom that loves her life, that thrives, how much is that going to impact your family and your kids? How much? That is like priceless. I don't know, like, is it worth it to spend a year going to therapy on a regular basis and maybe a few $1,000s to become that mom? Because then that influences and impacts your kids and your family for all the rest of the years that they're left in your home and your relationship with them. So think about that one. Your kids deserve a happy, healthy mom that loves her life. Also, when we think about emotional wellness and regulating our emotions and our challenging feelings, when we do that, and then when we're able to do that, and then when we teach that to our kids, we are setting our kids up for success for when they get married. I know plenty of people in my life, and I'm sure you do too, that do not regulate their emotions well. That they can shut down and do a cold treatment. Instead of communicating, they will say something hurtful. When they are emotionally dysregulated, there will be anger outbursts. There will be other hurtful things that will come out of those negative emotions that will negatively impact their relationship with other people around them. So if you want your children to communicate well down the road with their spouse, like for instance, if they come from work and they're just having a hard day and say, hey, hon, today has been a really, really rough day at work. I feel very overwhelmed. I had an incident with, a coworker, and I feel very stressed and even angry about what happened. I need some space for myself today. Could you take care of the kids? That will be super helpful. Do you want to raise boys that are men like that? I mean, I do. For them to communicate what they feel and what they need. Also, I want them, my children, not just communicating that to others, but also be able to support and help others and their kids and their spouse who is having a hard time, because they learn how to regulate themselves. People who are able to regulate their emotions when there is an intense conversation, and they know how to do that. I need to teach that to my kids now. Because even now, like with my 3-year-old, I am teaching him this. With my 9-year-old, I am reteaching him all of this, because the first 5 years, that's when they learn most of this information. Do they implement it? No, not necessarily. Little by little, they start doing it. And why can't they implement it? If you remember, their logical thinking, prefrontal cortex, the one that helps them make these positive choices, does not get fully developed and mature until their mid-20s. So even though we're teaching them all these skills, we cannot expect them to implement all these skills. They still need our help until they become adults. So that's why you will have kids that you do teach this to them, but you will see that they can't implement it as well as you can, and they need more guidance and support from you. So if, for example, if my child is saying something rude or mean to a sibling, I can guide them and say, hey, those words were not helpful. They were hurtful. Is there another way you can say it? Like, I get involved and I help them kind of make better choices and help them regulate themselves. If they say something very emotional or whiny to me, and I say, okay, I see that you really are upset and you really want this treat. is there another way you can ask for this? I see that you're super angry with your brother. Okay, can we communicate that in a different way? And then I help them through it. Sometimes I give them the words if they're super dysregulated. Anyways, come back to the mom. Your kids will learn, through you, how to be aware of negative emotions, how to communicate, how to ask for help, how to regulate self, and what to do instead of saying hurtful things. They learn that from you. And if they learn all the positive skills and they grow up to get married and they can implement those in their future families, how amazing is that? That is the future generation, and you impacted that. It starts with you. That impact will trickle down for generations, but it starts with you. And oftentimes, it has nothing to do with your kids right now in the moment. It's the space and time that you need to heal, maybe get help, eliminate things from your life that are overwhelming and stressing you out, simplifying, whatever it might be that you need to do to take care of you, so then you can do those things in a positive way to influence your family. When my kids grow up and leave the home, I want to be that mom. I want to be that mom that they can look back at and say, wow, I am so blessed I had my mom as a mom. I am so blessed. She taught me so much about life and skills and relationship. And no, we can't do everything. I'm not really good at teaching my kids cooking. I'm not focusing on that right now in this season, but I am focusing on emotions and emotional wellness and regulation and constantly working on myself. And I still mess up so much, but that's okay. I do my best to repair the relationship, and I get to try again. And I get to try again, and I get to try again, and those moments never go away to try again, to respond better next time. Anyways, this is what I wanted to tell you today. And to recap, to remind you, you have so much influence and power in your family as a mom. Your kids experience the world through you. Your children deserve a happy, healthy mom that loves her life. That's a quote by Ali Casaza. And it is absolutely not selfish to go get help for a season. It might be therapy for you, or it might be, a coach, it might be a mentor. It is not, or a holistic practitioner or a doctor. It is not selfish to invest financially into yourself, to better yourself, to get better so then that you can show up for your kids in that best way. That's what I want you to walk away with. If you feel inspired, if this has been helpful for you, I would highly, highly appreciate it. I would really appreciate it if you would share this episode with another mom. And also, share it on social media if this is something that you enjoy listening to, if this has been helpful for you in any way, shape, or form. I would love for you to share it on social media, screenshot it, tag me. I would love to hear your feedback if this is useful or helpful for you. Anyway, ladies, you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. If you have been enjoying listening to the podcast, I would love for you to go on iTunes and leave a review and let me know what you think, because this is how other people find out about it. Also, I would love for you to share my podcast on social media and tag me. Let me know if you're listening, and share it with another mom that you think this might be helpful and useful for. because I would love to spread this message, how much emotional wellness affects the rest of the family and how much impact we have as moms, and that we can set our families up for success. But it all starts with us. So if this has been helpful for you, I would love for you to share it with another mom. Thank you.